Welcome. This is Form 2 Mathematics and the topic today is logarithms. The question reads, use logarithms in all steps to evaluate 2.532 by 83.45 all over the square root of 0.4562. We are going to solve this as follows. Well, we are going to write the values we have here in standard form. So, beginning with the numerator, we have 2.532. So, the first value here in standard form is 2.532 by 10 power 0. And then the next thing is to find its logarithm. So we need to make a column for logarithms. So in order to write, or rather to get the logarithm of this, the first thing is to have the power of 10 as the characteristic. So we have 0 point, and then after the decimal point we are going to have the mantissa, so that we read from the tables. So reading the logarithm of 2.532 from the tables correctly, we will have 0.4034. Once we're done with that, the next number is 83.45. In standard form, that should be 8.345 times 10 power 1. So the power becomes the characteristic. So 1. So here we have 1 point. And then the mantissa is obtained by reading 8.345 from the tables. So the logarithm of that should be 0.9215. So on the numerator it's multiplication, and by the laws of logarithm we add, so that we'll have 94232. So this is the result for the numerator. Next we move to the denominator. On the denominator we have the square root of 0.4562. So we are going to have 0.4562 in standard form. That should be 4.562 times 10 power negative 1. So what we need to understand, this value is under root sign, so we can have it as 4.562 times 10 power negative 1, but because it's under root sign, then we can raise it to power a half. Remember, a number a under root sign is equivalent to a raised to power a half. So that's exactly what I've done here. So getting the logarithm of this, first we begin with the characteristic, which is the power of 10, and that will be, now the negative 1 we write as that, so this is read as bar 1 point, and then the mantissa part will obtain by reading the logarithm of 4.562 from the tables, and that correctly read should give us 0.6592, and because it's raised to power a half, we will multiply by a half. So that is where we apply the law of logarithm. such that if you have logarithm of a number raised to a given power, like logarithm of a raised to power half, this should be equivalent to a half logarithm of a. So that applies here. So we multiply by a half, and multiplying by a half is equivalent to dividing by 2. So the next step, we are going to divide by 2, and in order to divide by 2, we realize that by 1 is not divisible by 2, so we need to express it in a way that the characteristic part will be divisible by 2. So in order to achieve that, we need to manipulate by 1 to make that possible, and in the meantime the value should not change. It should be maintained at by 1 but expressed differently. So that will obtain by looking at the multiples of 2, and that is, for example, bar 2, bar 4, bar 6, and so on. But always, for simplicity, we can go by the first one, which is bar 2. So begin by writing bar 2, and then you ask yourself a number that when you add to bar 2 you obtain bar 1, and remember bar 1 is just negative 1. So it's like saying negative 1 plus a number should give us, negative 2 plus a number should give us negative 1. So we have negative 2 plus the number 1. That maintains bar 1. So we'll have that point, the mantissa part, which is 6592, and this now is divisible by 2. So dividing this by 2, bar 2 divided by 2, that gives us bar 1, plus 1.6592 divided by 2, that should give us 0.8296, and combining that we have bar 1.8296. So that gives us the denominator. Once we've obtained that, the next step is to have the numerator over the denominator, and for the case of logarithms, that is division, so we subtract. So on the numerator we had this, and denominator we have this right here, so that we'll have 2.3249, and for the denominator we had by 1.8296. So subtracting, because it's a division, we will have 5594, and here we have 2. Remember, it's 1 minus bar 1, that is 1 minus negative 1. So we have 2. So from here, we can now finally get the answer by reading the antilog. And the antilog we obtain by simply reading the antilog of the mantissa part, 0.4955, and that correctly read should give us 3.130 times 10 power. Now the power of 10 is always the characteristic, so we have 2. So this finally gives us 313.0. Well, that's it for this question. Thanks for your patience and thanks for watching. See you next time.